So in the old days, this is how we stored things in Excel spreadsheets. Not very effective for sorting or searching or anything. And especially, you're not going to have a spreadsheet 80 miles long that stores all your transactions in Amazon. Yeah, that would just be like a mess. It's called file-based. That was the old days before we realized that, oh, let's have relational databases where we have separate tables for different entities. An entity can be thought of as a noun. So that we have an employee entity, we have a department entity, we could have a sales entity, we could have an inventory entity, we could have a vendor entity, but each of those is a noun. That's a good way to think about it. So we established some business rules, and some had interesting business rules, and I'm not sure. We have two tables, and that's all we're doing with this to keep it simple. We're going to have a relationship between this table and this table, and we're going to have a relationship between this table and this table. And how you start relationships is with what's called business rules, which is part of what your business analyst or whatever you want to call it will come up with after they've talked to the customer. They'll say, oh, you want this kind of database. Okay. And then they translate that into business rules, which then some SQL guy will translate that into relationships. So in this case, a department can have many employees. An employee can only be in one department. So we have a one-to-many relationship, and we're stopping at that point, because that's enough SQL code to keep us busy. So far, so good. That's where we start business rules, separating out what's called normalizing the data, meaning we're separating this into the different entities. Next, ERD. And it's called an ERD, even though I have ER diagram example. I should probably saw it entity relationship. Oh, it is entity relationship diagram. Entities are each table, which is a noun, entity, right? So it could be a person, a thing, whatever. So it helps visually show what's going on. Well, here's one. Here's an entity. Here's an entity. The relation is the verb. So the blue car belongs to the student Jack. In this case, I did one for my little sample database. Do not do artist and song. Different database doesn't mean different data. It means a different database with different things. So in this case, my artist ID is my primary key. This is the standard, what's called a crow's foot notation. And at some point, you're going to take a big, long SQL database management, whatever they want to call it, that'll do all these things. I took one with my master's degree that did all this stuff. So this means one to many. We can have one artist can have many songs. A song can only be done by one artist. If you, and I thought I didn't realize this until I got the last week's assignments. Many artists don't have first and last names, but what you want to do is break things out into granular pieces. So if this is a regular name, you'd want to have first and last names. So you could sort and filter by first names and last names. So in this case, many artists like Cher, Bono, they only have one name. Well, I should have broken this out into first name and last name to show a better example. And then Bono is in there, he's just Bono, or U2. And the artist could be Leonard Skinner. So would Leonard be the first name and Skinner be the last name? I don't know. That would be confusing. I probably should find a better example. But you do want to break out, if you have people, you want first and last name at least. So you want to break things out into the smallest piece, because when you do a query, you can put it all together, but it's hard to take things apart. It's much more difficult to take things apart if they aren't apart to begin with. So this primary key connects to this foreign key. So if the artist ID is 10 and they created a song, 10 would be connecting these two guys together, then the song could be whatever it is, Hokey Pokey, and that is the connection. This identifies each song uniquely. So you can have two Hokey Pokeys, but you can't have two Hokey Pokeys with the same primary key. Primary keys have to be unique, and typically they're done with what's called an auto counter or auto number. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Typically primary keys don't mean anything, and they're not supposed to, because they're just The difference might be maybe in a manufacturing plant, but then they're probably using a prime, they may do part numbers as a primary key, but that's not a good idea because part numbers can change and that would make a mess. So it's better to have unique primary keys that are just auto numbered and the number doesn't mean anything except you use it to tie it to other tables. That's the best practice. Okay, so here is our assignment. We took this, we normalized our data last time, right? Assignment 2, assignment 3, we did oh, that's right, we're supposed to do a crow's foot for that one, weren't we? Okay, so now you have everything designed. Which I've worked with I was on a project with another instructor, we're working on Colleague database. Colleague is our student information program. And it's ancient beyond belief. It is like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Does not use SQL. And they did not have any ERDs. They had no data dictionary. People would just train the next person and nothing was written down. So we had to figure things out from scratch. But guess what we made? We made a data dictionary so we knew what these weird acronym things meant. You know, it was just like, and sometimes data was stored in 5 places. The same thing was stored in 5 places. Oh my goodness. So we are in the middle of a upgrade to the system to go to SQL. Boy, that's been a long time coming and it should have been done years ago, but there's other things that had to be done first. You know, you fight your biggest burning fire first. So a data dictionary tells you what table art ID belongs to, and it says, what does it mean? And it also says what type of data is in it. Same here. Text, primary key. What does this give us? Well, with this, we can build our SQL. This is our template to build our SQL to create our database. And there we are. Artist is going to have a Py file. There's our artist and our song. So we have a different Py file for each song, for each one. What will happen is then we'll have an application. There it is, music library application. So each table will have its own little file that creates and manipulates it. And then we'll have one application that talks to all those pieces. That way we have things modular, it's easy to work on. Once we've done this, we don't have to ever look at it again. We just have to know how to access. Monitor's blanked out. Then we access everything from here. And this is an outline of our program. We're going to import DB artist because we need to connect to that for our SQL to manipulate the database. And we need this to manipulate the song table. So artist song table, if we had 8 tables, we'd have 8 different modules that do the SQL for each one of them. We could have the code look like this, but it's better to break it up so you know what you're doing. So this is just the outline of what we're going to build. First thing we're going to do is create the tables. Then we can add the artist, we can display the art, we can do all these things. This is all the standard stuff, and at this point, we're just doing boilerplate to put it all together. And then, yes, we keep going. So as a demonstration, let me find the right one. This should be it. Yeah, there it is. Let me open that up. This uses SQLite, which is a very simple database. It's used a lot in phones and small applications because it doesn't need a database engine. It stores things in a single file. There it is. There's our single file. It doesn't have an engine, really. The engine is built into Python that manipulates it. I don't know how far I got with that one, with the GUI. I may not have finished it, but let's do this one, because I know this works. Well, we'll find out if it actually works. So Tabulate is a new library, and what it does is, well, let's take a look at what it does. It's pretty fun. There we go. Oh, it's going to work. So if I want to display all the artists, look at there. Tabulate allows us to quickly display things in tables. That's specifically what it's for. It's doing that. So there's my display. I come back up and here's all my choices again. So then I can do 4 to display all the songs. There they are. I need a little more room here. There we go. Yeah. Now, if I want to add an artist, give me an artist name on a song. Anybody? Artist name, music person you like?
Taylor Swift.
Okay. And see, I should have first and last name, shouldn't I? Country is US, right?
I think so.
We'll just say that it is. There. So if I display all the artists, there she is, Taylor Swift. Notice that it just went from 10 to 11. So typically you don't necessarily show the primary key. I showed it just as an example of how the auto numbering works. I deleted apparently some in here. Does it reuse the primary keys again? No, we just keep going from the end. So let's add a Taylor Swift song. There it is, 3. So what is a Taylor Swift song name? Because I don't know.
Blank space.
What was that?
Blank space.
Blank space? Oh, okay.
I think it's in there.
We'll say that's good.
Good enough.
Yeah, sounds good.
It works.
And what's the genre? What is Taylor Swift's genre? Pop or something? We'll just say pop. And what would you say that song is rated 1 to 5?
I won.
What do you think, Landon?
I might say like a 4.
Okay. Okay, so we can tell how much would it cost? We'll just make it up. If you had to buy it off something, we'll just say it's $1.99 off that, Apple store or whatever. I don't know what things cost anymore. The artist ID, we shouldn't have to add an artist ID. Oh, we do. That's why this is printed out, because this is how I associate them together. So if I put in 11, now this entry is associated with Taylor Swift, and that's why I printed this out. So I can then do that, and then when we do all artists and songs, there we go. Taylor Swift, Mills Brothers, Fleetwood Mac, Joan Osborne, ZZ Top. You can see I have an eclectic taste here. Yeah, actually, those first 4 are songs I like. Blank space, I've never heard. Exit. And we open it up again. It's all stored statically in this one little file. So how hard is this to back up your database? Copy and paste. It's just a single file. For a database engine, is a little more complex to work with, and you have to do more setup. This is built right into Python. We can add it into Java. We can add it into C++. SQLite is a very popular program for toy applications, meaning smaller applications. And it's on phones and portable devices because it's simple to work with. So you want to see an application of SQLite in action? Well, I can show you, because this has been my project for the last few months, is working on this Flask business on the STEM website. So for instance, in Live Fish Cam, I have streaming from a Raspberry Pi that streams there it is, streams the fishies and streams the plants, except we lowered this down and now we have to figure out where to put the camera now, so that we can see the plants growing. Well, I don't know if you can see it growing, but you can see them. I have this just coming out at 5 frames per second, which is plenty. So where's my database? There it is. This is all stored in a little SQLite database. These are people that have visited the fishies. Oh, my sister disappeared. Oh, because it used to have Fairmont on there, because where my sister lives. What happened? Oh, there she is. There. That's where my sister lives. I have no idea who these other people are. I know a lot of them are me from here.
What's the one over there?
What?
The right side. The right side.
Yeah, somebody is really, and it's probably not a person. It could be just a bot. Yeah, just checking out, see if they can get in. And one of the things I did after cybersecurity class, we ran some tests against this website, found some things I needed to change, so I changed them. I only allow like TLS 1.2 and 1.3. I had to tighten up security on it, and now it's about as secure as I can get. Salt Lake City, in that area, could be my friend Nicole from there. I have no idea who would be in Phoenix or Atlanta or wherever. It might be people really visiting. It might just be bots doing things. I don't know.
Is that live?
This, yeah. If somebody comes in right now, I refresh it and it'll be live. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's stored historically in an SQLite database. I don't know why it's only 17. Could be 17 unique, it's probably 17 unique IP addresses. That's how it's tracking it, yeah. And usually it looks up, I have three things that it looks up on. If it fails on one, it goes to the next and the next. Probably unknown is like somebody just, testing out the site. So I haven't figured it out yet, but I want to find something that I can filter that out and delete them. When they come in as unknown, completely unknown, I'm not going to track that. And I'm sure we have fans of the fish that are in, Madagascar or wherever that is, and then the UK and, somewhere over here in Japan. This is really popular. The fish are really popular wherever this is. Surabaya, which I'm thinking not, and then here we're in, what are we in here? Yeah, I'm thinking probably we just have people, Kuala Lumpur. Yeah, I'm sure I know somebody there that's looking at the fish, and there's all these people here. And as you zoom in, they're all coming from this single location, which is a bunch of different IP addresses. Because as you zoom in, it'll separate them. But for some reason, we have somebody in the middle of the river where it gives the location. I'm sure that's just an inaccuracy of,
What business is close to there?
yeah, what it's,
What
it's just
entity corporations over there.
yeah, I'm sure that's what a lot of these are. It's just somebody, saying, oh, let's see if we can futz with things, but I don't have anything they can futz with. I don't have anything that can be SQL injected or anything. So that's what's behind this. I also did a blog. Let's find the blog. There we go. I'm going to here. Find the blog. There it is. I made a blog just because I've never done one before. So there we are. The blog, you have to log in. I have to approve you. So nobody can just go in and create something. You can create an account, but I have to approve you to get you in here. Oh, I have the wrong password apparently. Okay, I have 8 attempts before I get locked out.
Someone
See, I
log into your account, change password. Bill.
No, I just can't remember my password and it saved something weird in here that's not the right
And I
password.
had to forget password.
Yeah, I don't remember well, this is as far as I've gotten. But I did make sure I did a lockout thing in there, so someone just can't hammer at it. But if I can't get in there with my account, well, then I have to get into the database and unlock it. Which I can. I can get into the back end and unlock it. Anyway. All that is SQLite with Flask in it.
I thought it was a cube, was it?